Jai Atmeshwar, Samarpan Yog of the Himalayas, Part 1, Episode 33. Today, I understood that Gurudev had passed on the mystery of death to me when he was sitting in a meditative state. I had experienced several times that he stayed in meditation, and through his aura, he would reveal the knowledge of different mysteries of life to me. That is why, whether I was near him or not in the jungle, I never felt that I was alone there. By living close to nature, I learned from nature that the tree which has more tolerance is able to progress. One day, during a great storm, I noticed that several big trees had been uprooted. There were very tall trees there, but they weren't very thick, and the soil was not very compacted around them. It was loose. If the soil under the tree was washed away during the rains, the ability of the trees to stay standing was weakened, and thus the trees would fall. Several big trees fell, but the forest was so thick that the tree could not even fall to the ground after it was uprooted. Before reaching the ground, the tree would get stuck on a nearby tree. During the storm, only those trees which had the capacity of tolerance, those trees which were flexible and could bend, would be saved. In the jungle, very few trees would break and more trees would be uprooted because the soil was washed away with the water. I felt that man should also increase his level of tolerance with age because lack of tolerance is leading to a growing dissatisfaction in the world today. The only reason for that is a lack of tolerance. The main support for a happy life in the future will be his level of tolerance, because intolerance is going to spread across human society. There is a lack of tolerance in today's fast world. I found a lot of tolerance and patience in people who lived with nature. I felt that this is a unique gift of nature which is gained by man in the proximity of nature. Tolerance is the strength of one's soul. The stronger the soul, the more will be the tolerance level. Man merges with nature as he meditates, and as a result, tolerance begins to be established in him. Due to this tolerance, man remains calm and peaceful even in the most difficult circumstances. Tolerance is the gift of a powerful soul to man. Tolerance is a power which develops within man when he meditates. Every human being has to develop himself on his own. This cannot be obtained externally. Only those trees which possess tolerance can face even the most violent storm and succeed in preserving their existence. I picked some lahi leaves and after stuffing them into a bamboo and filling it with water, I placed them for boiling on the fire. And when the green color of the bamboo started changing, I realized that the juice of that bamboo had got mixed with the leaves, and the leaves had been cooked. I took out the leaves and ate them, and then I filled the bamboo with water and drank it. The water was flavored with the taste of bamboo, and this is how I usually cooked and ate my food. These leaves grew here quite easily. They grew bigger and ripened very quickly. My mother always said that wherever you go, your food should be provided according to the local conditions, because that food would have been created to suit the natural atmosphere and environment of that place. Thus, keeping in mind the natural atmosphere of the place, these leaves proved to be suitable for meals. In order to remain alive in the jungle, one has to eat whatever is available. But food is not very important here. First of all, no one stuffs himself with food here. And secondly, this food is quickly digested. Gurudev ate even less. He used to eat less and speak less. But whenever he spoke, his words appeared to be divine, and nectar seemed to flow through them. Then I would go into meditation. Sometimes it seemed as if Paramatma himself was speaking through him. It was very difficult to light a fire in the jungle. Two flint stones had to be rubbed together, and the resultant spark would be used to light dry grass, and then the dry grass to light the dry wood. But as I had no practice in doing this, I used to take hours to light a fire. Sometimes, two dry bamboos could also be rubbed to light the fire, but compared to the bamboos, it was easier to light a fire with stones. Sometimes the fire would go out when we stayed in meditation for a longer period. Otherwise, the fire would always be kept burning so that we did not have to go through the process of lighting it again and again. Thus, the fire would always be kept burning. During the summer, two dry trees would often rub against each other, and a fire would start as a result of the friction. Then, the fire would spread to the entire jungle because it would spread due to the direction of the wind. At such a time, birds and animals had to run from the jungle to save their lives. During such a fire, it was their young ones who would get caught as they could not run with their parents. As they lived close to nature, the birds and animals could get all the knowledge and experience and keep on learning from nature. A beautiful, quiet music always plays in the natural atmosphere, and even if a leaf falls in that quiet atmosphere, The crackling sound can be heard far away. That silence also has its own music, and people who live in the proximity of nature enjoy this silence. That is why those who live close to nature are found to speak less and listen more. Listening is very important in the jungle. Birds and animals also keep listening, and as a result of their increased capacity of hearing, they can judge the approaching danger by listening to the sounds. Listening is very essential for birds and animals in order to stay alive, because it is due to their listening ability that they can save themselves from impending attacks. On the other hand, as a result of this listening process, they can also hunt for other birds and animals as prey for their food. Thus, listening is a great protective activity in the life of the jungle. The language of birds and animals in the jungle does not have any words. There are only special sounds at special times. There is a sound for calling someone. There is a sound for warning their companions of approaching danger. There is a sound to inform them that food is available. The sound of a mother calling out to its young ones. The sound of a mother searching for her young ones. The sound of a female trying to attract the male. This sound pleases both the male and the female. The combined sound of both of them when they meet. The sound made by young ones when they are hungry. The sound made by an animal whilst attacking its prey. Several hunting animals use a special sound to scare their prey, and when the prey faints with fear, they catch it. Quite often, when an animal is caught in the throes of death, it makes a sound which is only a sound in the jungle. There are no words in it. This same habit is formed by various tribes living in the jungle. They make a special sound in order to say a sentence. If they want to call someone, there is one type of sound. The tribal people's songs are also a collection of special sounds. That is why tribal people don't have words, only sounds. Sometimes it seemed that there was no need to choose words and make sentences when one sound was sufficient. It seemed that words are a creation of man's intellect, as birds and animals don't use words either, but even then, their life goes on. In every natural environment, Paramatma also speaks through the medium of nature. He gives us messages, but because we are not connected to nature, we are not able to understand them. There are no words in Paramatma's messages, only sounds. Those sounds can only be heard by one who is used to hearing them. One has to practice listening to those sounds. Paramatma speaks within a human being too, but we should make time to listen to Paramatma. Man is occupied with his own thoughts. There is always a storehouse of the rubbish of thoughts of the past within him. The remaining space in his mind is taken up by thoughts of the future. So when does he have time to listen to Paramatma's voice? Neither does he see any necessity for it. Paramatma is our mother, and a mother wants to talk to her children too, but the children have no time to talk to their mother. The mother's language is without words because the mother has to speak the language that every human being can understand, and all human beings are Paramatma's children. Paramatma is an energy which has given birth to man. His parents in life are just mediums to bestow him with a body. Actually, the mother and father of man is Paramatma, who wishes to have a dialogue and converse with the children he has produced. He wishes to pass on his messages to them. It is necessary for them to hear those messages. But only when you have the time to listen to those messages, when you are free from thoughts of the past and the future, from positive and negative thoughts, only when you are free from all these thoughts that Paramatma's call will register. I too have experienced that the human form, the human yoni, is closer to Paramatma, but man never realizes it. He never realizes this in his lifetime. Once the soul receives a human form, he becomes complacent, thinking that he has reached the destination of liberation, and he starts becoming lethargic in the human form. When he wakes up, he realizes that he had reached close to the destination of liberation in his previous birth, but now the destination seems to have receded far behind, because all his life he kept thinking and did not listen to Paramatma's message, to what he had to say. I have noticed a special quality about birds and animals. They never have any thoughts. They have given the privilege of thinking to the entire human race. Birds and animals do not think at all. Yes, when they are hungry, they go in search of prey, but they don't even think when they go in the search of prey. The language of Paramatma is the language of vibrations, and there are no words in that language. There is only consciousness. There is such a large collectivity of human beings on this earth. All are the children of Paramatma. Paramatma has created everything, and Paramatma is everyone's mother. And when the mother wishes to speak to all her children, then she will use only one language, and that language is of vibrations. This is understood by all human beings. They are aware of it, but by thinking too much, man has forgotten that language because he has only caught hold of the medium, the parents through whom man took birth on this earth. He caught hold of the religion of those parents. He caught hold of the language of those parents. And he caught hold of the culture of those parents. These parents are not stable, and therefore their religion is not stable. Their culture is also unstable, and thus man catches hold of all that is unstable, and he forgets those parents who are stable. He forgets their language. Man does not have living knowledge, and all these things are happening due to his ignorance of living knowledge. If man gains the living knowledge, he will realize that parents keep changing with each birth, and therefore their religion will change, their language will change, and then he will try to understand the language of his stable mother, that is Paramatma, and he will want to listen only to the messages of Paramatma. I realized that Gurudev was speaking. Go into the society of man and remind them of their stable parents and free them from their thoughts and tell them to listen to what Paramatma is telling them, to listen to Paramatma's message. Go and awaken the people in society. I too decided that I would definitely go into society. I would go and help them to get in touch with their stable mother and tell them to listen to the messages of their mother. I will create a society which is free of thoughts. It is possible that I may not be able to see such a thought-free society in my lifetime, but in future, the coming generations will definitely create this kind of society. The language of this society will be one. Their religion will be one. Their race will be one. And their soul will be one. One day, such a world will definitely be created, and Gurudev has given me the Guru's work of creating such a society. I sat listening quietly to the voices. Paramatma was speaking through the medium of Gurudev, and Paramatma's language could be heard in the form of vibrations, and it sounded as if a conch shell was being blown. Jai Atmeshwar. We will conclude today's book reading episode over here. Thank you for listening.